On December the 20th, 1968, students David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen were brutally shot on a California highway during their first date. 6 months later, another couple was shot dead in a car in a parking lot not far from the first attack. There were almost no clues, and the police quickly reached a dead end. But soon, the mysterious killer sent a letter that included a mysterious cipher and signed it with a symbol, a circle with a cross through it. Thus began the story of the legendary Zodiac serial killer. In 1970, he even sent a cipher to a newspaper with his real name. And only in 2021, an amateur of cryptography claimed to have finally cracked those messages. But it was a bit tricky. In this video, you'll find out what makes the Zodiac cipher so complicated, how did illiteracy play into the hands of the killer, and most importantly, why might he still be at large? Why didn't experienced detectives catch the Zodiac in hot pursuit? On July the 31st, 1969, the Zodiac sent 3 letters to 3 newspapers, and each of them contained a third of the coded message. The cipher consisted of 408 symbols, so it was called Cipher 408. It looked like some kind of alien alphabet. The letter's author threatened to kill 12 more people if the cipher wasn't published on the front page, and all 3 newspapers, after long hesitation, obeyed the killer's demand. A week later, school teacher Donald Hardin and his wife Betty decoded the cryptogram. They managed to match the English letters to each of the mysterious symbols, and the killer's obsession with himself became the key. Betty just guessed that the message began with the word I. She also suggested that the word kill would appear in the text. Donald and Betty weren't even stopped by the fact that the Zodiac coded the same letter L with 2 different symbols. After that, solving the rest of the cipher was already a matter of technique. Alas, the message itself didn't reveal too much. In short, its main content turned out to be something like, I like killing people because it's so much fun. Meanwhile, the police, on circumstantial evidence, detained their first suspect, Arthur Lee Allen. He lived just minutes away from the locations of the first murders, and Allen's acquaintances had seen his notebook with the same ciphers as the Zodiac's. But further examination revealed that the killer's letters were written by a person with different handwriting. Due to a lack of direct evidence, Allen was released. Besides him, an employee of a cinema in San Francisco, Richard Reed Marshall, and a criminal with a rich criminal history, Lawrence Kay, were under suspicion. However, sufficient evidence of their guilt couldn't be found, so the detectives had no choice but to hope for new clues in the Zodiac's letters. Why did the ciphers turn out to be the only way to find the Zodiac? From autumn of 1969 to the spring of 1970, the Zodiac conducted 3 more attacks, and again, young couples were his target. The surviving victims and witnesses helped make a composite sketch and a description of the perpetrator, but even that didn't help. The killer had carefully obliterated all his fingerprints at the crime scene, and where the evidence still remained, the police themselves were blatantly negligent and couldn't collect it. And one time, some patrolmen even let the killer leave the crime scene because teenage witnesses were convinced that the attacker was black. After that, the Zodiac himself phoned the police station and called them stupid pigs. In the end, all that was left for detectives were messages from the murder scenes and the letters sent to the newspapers. But in November 1969, the Zodiac sent a cipher of 340 symbols. Investigators dubbed it Cipher 340. It seemed that it was also necessary to match letters to the symbols, but that technique didn't give any results this time. The Zodiac killer was probably angry because his first cipher had been cracked so quickly. So this time, he also mixed the letters together in some unknown way, leaving no keys or clues. The code turned out to be above everyone's heads, both amateurs and experts. So, has there been any progress since then? Why don't even modern cryptography methods help in finding the Zodiac? A few years ago, an international team of codebreakers, led by David Orenchak, used a special program to run through 650,000 possible solutions to cipher 340, and finally cracked it. In that letter, the letters in the coded words were not only replaced by symbols, but were also shifted down diagonally. There were two different encryption methods in the same text. That's why only the latest decryption programs could pull off solving the Zodiac cipher letter. In addition, the Zodiac didn't use any punctuation and made many mistakes in the simplest words. But having overcome all these obstacles, the investigators ended up with a pretty useless message. In it, the killer said that he wasn't afraid of the gas chamber and would be sent to paradise with his slaves, which he considered his victims to be. There was nothing in the text that would help reveal the secret of the Zodiac's identity. But there were still two ciphers remaining. The first was the coded coordinates of a bomb that the Zodiac had threatened to set off in the neighborhood of Mount Diablo, but never did. That message was called the map cipher. The second was a 13-symbol cryptogram from April 1970. Judging by the accompanying text, it must be the one to contain the cherished real name of the killer. However, the experts faced an insurmountable difficulty. You might think that the less text there is, the fewer solutions are needed to run through, and the sooner a correct solution could be found. But in cryptography, it's the other way around. The shorter the cipher, the more possible brute force solutions it has, and it's more challenging to find the correct answer. In this case, the solution could be the phrase, "I had a good meal," or the recognition, "I'm Peter Parker," with the same level of confidence. But still, attempts to decode the name of the Zodiac didn't stop for years. But why didn't even a solution to the last cipher help catch the Zodiac? In the summer of 2021, French engineer Faisal Ziraoui claimed to have cracked both of the remaining Zodiac ciphers. First, he applied the same diagonal encryption key as the team of cryptographers who cracked the cipher 340. Doing this, Ziraoui received only a set of random letters from the map cipher, but he didn't give up just yet. He replaced the letters with numbers, and from them, using his own decoding program, identified the date and coordinates of the failed explosion. Inspired by his success, Ziraoui applied the same deciphering principle to the cipher with the name of the Zodiac killer, and got only one coherent word: care. This he immediately recognized as resembling the last name of a suspect in the case, Lawrence K. He was associated with the Zodiac by having a similar appearance and body type, and surviving victims claimed that K's voice was similar to the killer's. In addition, he lived not far from several crime scenes. However, cryptography experts, having studied Ziraoui's methods, stated that his decoding steps were simply random. Thus, the answers he received were most likely wrong. David Orenchak himself, whose methods of cracking cipher 340 was used by Ziraoui, concluded that the correctness of those solutions just couldn't be verified due to the shortness of the latest Zodiac ciphers. So, despite the best efforts of hundreds of experts and amateurs, the real Zodiac killer may still be walking among us somewhere, and we'll probably never know his real name. And if Ziraoui's decoding was still correct, Lawrence K. died back in 2010, taking all his secrets to the grave.